Al-Anon is a 12-step program designed to help people escape the drama involved in loving a drinking alcoholic. I went to my first Al-Anon meeting way back, 1971, 10 years before I realized the alcoholic in my marriage wasn't my husband. It was me. And that actually isn't uncommon. There are a lot of people in recovery from alcoholism who first stumbled into the 12-step program door labeled Al-Anon. But once there, they were eventually able to figure out that they too maybe had a problem with their drinking. Well, alcoholics often do marry or live with other alcoholics. Non-alcoholics who tie that knot are generally people who grew up in an alcoholic home, but they couldn't fix the alcoholic they were living with back then. So today, by God, they're going to fix their current alcoholic partner. They will get them sober. That's the mindset. I didn't stick around for a second Al-Anon meeting back in 1971. I was too crazy back then to even stick the landing. But I've been back since. And I now know that Al-Anon recommends people attend at least 6 meetings before they make a decision whether Al-Anon can be any help to them or not. So stay here if you'd like to know more about how you can help yourself and maybe even help the alcoholic in your life. Welcome back. People I meet soon learn I am a recovering alcoholic because I tell them. That's because many people have fessed up about their own drinking problem to me once they learned I used to drink, but had found a way to stop and stay stopped. And there are a lot more people out there who are not problem drinkers, but who live with one. Their one question to me is always, how can I get them to stop drinking? Bad news is, and the sad fact is, they can't. That decision has to be made by the alcoholic themselves. But there are ways the non-alcoholic can change the home dynamic and encourage the alcoholic to seek help, while also making life a lot easier on themselves and for any children who might be involved. Those techniques are some of the things they can learn and apply in Al-Anon. People who marry, live with, love, or in any way closely interact with a drinking alcoholic will eventually be caught up in all the insane drama inherent in the disease of alcohol. And it's all because of obsession. And the definition of obsession is a persistent, recurring idea that does not respond to reason. The alcoholic's main obsession is about getting their next drink, and their loved one becomes equally obsessed with stopping them from getting it. Alcoholics, like me, when we know our drinking is out of control but don't know how to fix it, we have our side issue obsession to deal with, which is our belief that this time we'll be able to drink normally. We sell ourselves on the idea that at some point we will be able to manage our drinking. We just have to keep trying. One day we'll figure it out. Many of us carry that obsession into an early grave. Fact. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, our loved ones living with the effects of our insane drinking become obsessed with fixing us. They too become convinced that this time, it will be different. This time they'll make us understand what our drinking is doing to us and to them, the children. Toward that goal, they will cry, get angry, threaten, walk out, come back, plead, beg, shout, smack us, either physically or with a solid wall of bitter silence. And that's perhaps the worst punishment of all for those who are already riddled with guilt and fear. which all alcoholics are when their drinking goes out of control. We can hide that very, very well. The wives of AA's founding members knew every one of those dramatic techniques to try and sober up their husbands, and they had learned firsthand that those efforts just don't work. And while it took them until 1951 to formally launch the Al-Anon program, they had been in lockstep with the teachings of Alcoholics Anonymous right from the beginning in 1935. And that's because the wives of those AA's earliest members, oh, by the way, there were no women AA members in the beginning. I'm going to talk all about that in an upcoming video. But anyway, those wives of those earliest members they very soon recognized that they too had been damaged by the effects of alcohol, even if they had never had a single drink. They also saw the powerful and positive results that living AA's 12-step program had on their husbands. So they used those steps to create a program of recovery for themselves. And just like those in AA, their little band of members reached out to others who were suffering in the same way they had once done. And today's International Mutual Aid Organization of Al-Anon is the result of that. People who love an alcoholic are often great overprotectors. They'll protect their alcoholic for years, sometimes decades, from suffering the consequences of their drinking. They'll call in sick to the hungover alcoholic's workplace. They'll take an extra job or more than one to keep the household going when most of the household money is getting spent on booze. And they'll even give their grown-ass alcoholic children lifelong housing and money, and so on. The list of their caretaking behaviors is lengthy. So a core principle of Al-Anon is that alcoholics cannot learn from their mistakes if they're overprotected. Al-Anon pioneered the idea of detachment with love from all of this drunk drama. And seasoned Al-Anon members teach the baffled and beaten caretaking newcomer how to apply their caretaking skills that they're so good at to themselves and to their children. Meanwhile, their alcoholic, now facing the consequences of their own actions, maybe the first time ever, will be far more able to figure out they probably, maybe, possibly have a problem with their drinking. And then hopefully, to, by themselves, go and seek some help for it. Al-Anon's simple program has a darn good success rate, too. Fairly recent statistics, and I got to read these, they show members reporting on average an 88% improvement of their mental health after becoming Al-Anon members. And 67% of those, 88%, say they have had a significant improvement. I couldn't find any recent statistics for Alateen members. But early in my own sobriety, I co-chaired an Alateen group together with an Al-Anon member, so I know firsthand that those kids were helped a lot by their participation. That experience was also my first taste of the effects alcohol had on their families. I heard stories from those kids that still hurt my heart. And the only thing I could do for my own children way back then was to give them a sober mom and to keep her sober. I'm very grateful I had the chance to do that, be able to. There are a lot of so-called double winners in AA and Al-Anon. These are people who are members of both programs. Those alcoholics who are both addicted to alcohol and are also the partner, parent, child, relative, friend of an alcoholic, either a sober one or one who is still drinking. And while I'm not active in Al-Anon today, it has helped me immeasurably over the course of my own sober life. in dealing with other alcoholics, drinking and sober alcoholics, including members of my own family. And I still read the Al-Anon literature every morning. Here's a nice little sample for you. Quote, "If someone were to say to me, 'Here is a medicine that can change your whole life for the better. It will put you in a state of relaxed serenity, help you overcome the nagging undercurrent of guilt for past errors, give you new insight into yourself and your spiritual value, and let you meet life's challenges with confidence and courage, take it?' That is the promise of the 12 steps of AA and Al-Anon." Alcoholics who no longer drink live their lives pretty much like other people. But having the first drink sets the terrible cycle of craving for more in action. Alcoholics with no knowledge about their disease of alcoholism usually have no idea why they take that first drink. Their loved ones have no idea either. But trying to figure out that puzzle just keeps the not-so-merry-go-round spinning. The first of the 12 steps in both AA and in Al-Anon reads, "We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable." Being able to finally admit that powerlessness is that spot, that place where recovery and the healing start to begin. If this video has given you any useful information today, please hit the thumbs up symbol below and subscribe. It really helps this channel. And in my next video, I'll be talking about those of you who care for elderly parents who may in their senior years be developing a problem with alcohol. There are a lot more of them doing that than you might think. It's a tough situation to confirm or to confront, but having information about that problem might help. So I'll be posting it right here on September the 7th. Until then, please remember a sober life begins with just one sober hour. If you need to quit drinking, you can do this. Keep sober.